Asad, for inviting me on your show. I think it's great to be here with you, and I think you're doing a wonderful job by creating awareness and, of course, talking about supply chain, and in a very short time, which is amazing. And I really appreciate that your management skills, time management skills, because this is one of the topics on which you can talk hours and hours, of course. So yeah, you're doing wonderful job. So thumbs up. Very good question, Asad. I think it is impossible. We all know that it is impossible to overstate the contribution of logistics in boosting economic growth in any country, whether it's developed country or underdeveloped country. Um, Globally, if you look at the statistics, um, this industry estimate around $4.3 trillion altogether, and it's contributing at an average of 8 to 10% to GDP of that country, and providing and creating thousands of new jobs and improving countries' import and export and internal supply chain altogether and substantially. If you talk about Pakistan, I would refer the study done by World Bank few years ago, and they said the logistics sector in Pakistan could capitalize on untapped potential worth approximately $30.77 billion, which is huge, and this value would be realized by developing integrated road and rail networks, including air, sea, and dry port, because we have to connect all these gateways together with all the logistics components. Therefore, improving connectivity between the rural areas and the urban markets is also very important. And of course, Pakistan being the located strategically in the map can also connect the world with China and CIS countries and also Afghanistan. I think if the world able to get security stability in Afghanistan, then of course Pakistan has got access to the market of CIS countries, and the potential is huge. And I think lot of things are happening right now around us, and sooner or later we're gonna achieve that, inshallah. Yeah, very good question, because it's very close to my heart, and I live logistics every day. So let me give you a realistic answer. Um, in my opinion, challenges are much bigger than the opportunities we have right now, especially in due to COVID-19. It has disturbed both supply and demand side together. Having said that, and optimistically speaking, Pakistan has got huge potential, and due to its location in the region, it has got potential to serve as a logistics hub for the CIS countries and China, as I said earlier. If we talk about Pakistan 3PL market, apart from the current business volume, most importantly, we also need to create awareness and boost the trend of outsourcing, which is very important among the local organization, because they take these 3PL companies differently. They take 3PL as a cost center, but I would say these companies can really contribute enhancing their efficiencies and all this stuff. So, um, you know, we all know that there's a cost pressure on these almost every industry in Pakistan, especially FMCG companies, especially due to declining buying trend from the consumer side. So yeah, I think if this company would partner with these 3PL companies like us, we always or we will try to at least bring in efficiencies, not in term of bringing the cost down, but also like increasing the efficiency in the supply chain, and also which ultimately help these companies to improve their bottom line, their customer services, ensuring their goods supply of goods to the market on timely basis and without much damages. So these are very important. I think they start taking us as their service partner, and and also as enabler to achieve the overall company's objective. CPAC is, CPAC, which is China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, is part of a much larger Chinese program under the OBOR, which is One Belt and One Road initiative. It is fantastic project, I tell you. In fact, one of the greatest initiatives launched from logistics industry point of view, because it connects a lot of countries like Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, and also Malaysia together. Um, Chinese has planned to invest around $62 billion in the first step in this initiative, and it's aimed primarily at creating an enabling environment to address Pakistan's huge energy shortfall. And some of this investment will also be used to create logistics infrastructure, because once you have energy, then you need delivery. The next stage will be to create special economic zones within which manufacturing facilities will be established. One hears that this phase will continue, um, like um, uh, and of course, they have some plan to even increase the investment quantum from $62 billion to $150 billion altogether. So if it happened, it would be, I think, fantastic thing for Pakistan. Um, yeah, and most before we talk about CPAC, we need to understand that where are we right now in terms of logistics index. Um, so it should not be therefore not be surprised that on the World Bank Logistics in Performance Index, which is LPI, which was done in 2018 and 19 perhaps, Pakistan has ranking of 122 out of 160 countries. And of course, like, countries primarily due to its poor scores in customs clearance, tracking and tracing, and timeliness. For context, other developing economies facing similar industrial, financial, and political challenges as Pakistan ranked, but they ranked better than Pakistan somehow. Let's say Bangladesh ranked 100, and out of 160, India 44, which is a very good number rank, and Nepal, which is a very small country and they do not have that much resource as we have. They rank 114. So that, which means that Pakistan has got huge gap, and CPAC is doing very well to bridge that gap, by the way. So the logistics sector of Pakistan is severely lacking. There are about 500,000 registered trucks operating in Pakistan, and of which majority are obsolete barefoot trucks with rigid suspension that have limited speed and are heavy on fuel consumption, and of course they increase our carbon footprint altogether. So that inefficiency, is costing us too much, not in terms of consuming this fuel, and of course damaging the environment, increasing the carbon footprint, and of course so these are very, very important aspect of logistics. And these, because of having these outdated trucks, actually, we are paying huge indirect costs for that matter. So no, and these actually, it cost us approximately 2% of GDP on an average basis. Um, if CPAC project mature, for example, at least a company like us have to put in 100,000 additional trucks, in the network, to of course to support the construction industry, and to of course doing back and forth movement from port to the economic zones, and of course bringing the Chinese goods from the Xinjiang province to Gawada, and from Gawada to Xinjiang province. So this is very important, and if I think we need to put in all our effort to make CPAC successful, and of course and we should capitalize this opportunity, and we should do our level best to make it happen in any case. Wow, I think it's one of the area where I've done a lot of surveys and research work on this particular matter. I know. Let me explain you the whole scenario. The cold chain. Cold chain is an integrated system of storage, transportation, and distribution of course, perishable and temperature-sensitive commodities. Pakistan, being the agricultural country, um, produces seven types of agricultural products within its agricultural economy, and which account for almost 60 to 65% of our agricultural output. They and it includes like dairy, poultry, livestock, fruit, vegetables. You can say fisheries, and also flowers, by the way, which is one of the area where we have to improve, and we already doing a lot of things already. Um, Pakistan produces all these in such abundance, uh, excuse me, that prices are very low. The problem is that almost 50% of it, approximately, not really, but from 35% to 50% of it goes to waste. If you talk about the fruit and vegetable, the post-harvest losses are around 35% approximately. So it means it is not stored and processed properly. So cold chain is a way to resolve issues of wastage in perishable agricultural products, so that farmer do not suffer losses and consumer do not have to pay excessive prices for seasonal fruit, vegetables, and other commodities. So cold chain can achieve this by preserving agri products and extending their shelf life altogether. To equip, no, just to if you talk about solution, yeah, we can fix this gap by equipping our airports and railways and ports with cold chain warehouses, and integrated cold chain across public sector enterprises and private sector facilities requires, of course, and to do that, by the way, um, will be needing investment of approximately $500 million, and this of course cannot be done like public sector alone, but there has to be some public and private partnership. Um, so it is just an approximate figure, and these investment would entirely be done um, uh, for in the transportation sector, in the cold storages, in the packed houses, and of course training and development of these farmers, and the of course like small and medium enterprises and all this stuff. So if you just link this opportunity with the CPAC, I think we can convince Chinese government to actually integrate this particular segment with the CPAC, and and of course this encourages a lot of investors, a lot of international foreign investment companies to take interest in developing our industrial infrastructure, and of course cold chain supply network, and I think it can be an integral part of the CPAC initiative. I think this is very interesting aspect, and I think during this COVID-19 days, um, the Amazon has gained a lot of like value in the market, and of course it is not in million but in billion of dollars. So e-commerce itself is very much linked with the logistics. So if we just explain e-commerce, so it means that you're ordering online and then delivering as fast as possible, which is very which is where logistics come in. Most e-commerce companies have been buying into logistics companies or creating their own logistics division. E-commerce, I tell you, e-commerce is going to be one of the new areas which will see growth in Pakistan. Um, if you see the e-commerce market in growth in Pakistan e-commerce market, uh, valued around 99.3 billion rupees in 2018 and 19 as per the State Bank of Pakistan. Um, and it actually registered year on year growth of 92%, which is amazing from the last year. So so it has a trickle down effect on the courier logistics sector as well. So like so we need to take this industry very seriously, and of course a lot of startups are coming offering different products online, of course, and the challenges is to ensure that these products which are being ordered online should reach to the consumer timely basis and an accurate basis, with all the accuracy actually, like so and if you I think government has to take it very seriously, and they should come up and regulate this industry yeah, like properly, because I think by end of this year, this industry itself, this particular segment, would going to exceed 1.5 billion dollar market in Pakistan only. Um, like I think it's booming right now, and it has become a kind of lucrative business opportunity for many of the SMEs and of course like logistics companies. Um, so exactly, Pakistan increasingly turning to e-commerce to fulfill their shopping needs, and I tell you, like the customer expectation, because we being the consumer of e-commerce industry, we expect that our order should reach to us on timely basis. So it's not, so timely delivery is not anymore nice to have. It's now must, and it's one of the bare minimum expectation from the consumer, the e-commerce consumer, to have their ordered goods accurately and on timely manners. Thank you very much, and we had very good discussion, I think. I look forward to it again, and so wish you good luck for your audience and to you as well. So thank you very much.